No to Harley Davidson woke advertising. Watch this video. Hello, welcome to RevelatorAlf. I hope you're all well. So Harley Davidson, they're going to be coming out with their new motorcycle launch in January. Just over a month's time now. You're kind of building up to the expectation of what they're going to bring out and how they're going to deliver this new marketing campaign. Now, I've been quite critical of Harley Davidson, of the way in which they do things, not necessarily their motorcycles, which I'm a fan of. I own one, right? If you watch my channel, you know I've got a Harley Davidson, right? But I've been critical of the way they do things and some of their strategies in the past, and also what's happening right now. And certainly in terms of the products they sell and the price point at which they're selling these motorcycles at. So now we're building up to their launch, and we've got to see how they're going to advertise and how they're going to launch their products. Now, if you've been watching the news, if you've been watching things materializing online, you would have noticed the disaster that has just occurred to Jaguar cars. They've just rebranded everything. They've launched this new advertising campaign. It's got nothing to do with cars. It's very artsy. If you're selling perfume, great, but it's not. You're selling cars, and the car doesn't even feature in this nonsense ad that they've produced. The CEO has come out and he's defended the advertising campaign. If you go to my other channel, I've made a whole video about this as well. But essentially, we'll be asking questions of the CEO and his motivations and the agenda of what's going on behind the scenes at Harley Davidson. And you kind of wonder, well, actually, do you know what? Could Harley Davidson do something like this? Could they do something as disastrous as this? Now, of all the criticism that I've always labelled at Harley Davidson, and all the praise at which I've labelled at Harley Davidson as well, because I do offer a balanced approach here. One thing I've always said, or one thing that I've always kind of ridiculed, and many people ridicule this, it's not just me. When they do their launch in January, and usually the VT that they produce, the video that they produce alongside, it's always very much layering it on thick about the freedom and Harley Davidson and the American dream. And you kind of look at that and you think, God, change the tune, at least do something different. But that's just one thing that you can definitely say about Harley Davidson, that throughout all this time, whether we ridicule it, whether we poke fun at it, or whether we really love it, you know what they do. You know what they're trying to sell. They are trying to sell motorcycles. And yes, they might be trying to appeal to different types of people and diversity and everything like that. That's fine. That's fine. You've got to appeal to different types of people. But when you watch that VT of the launch party, let's say, you know this is a Harley Davidson product. They're still trying to sell that dream. They're still trying to sell that identity. Now, many people are wondering, well, is that identity even there? Can they still have that identity, but do it in a different way? So sometimes it's really old fashioned, but sometimes it could also do with changing up a little bit. But to go from that to the extreme, let's say that Jaguar's gone, and look at the future, and then you got to think, what is going on? If you haven't watched this video from Jaguar, I implore you to go and watch it, because it is so absurd. It's beyond ridiculous. If Harley Davidson did something like this, or even went away from this traditional route here, then they have a major problem. The reason why I'm saying this is because, as we know, this year, Harley Davidson have had a big problem with this kind of DEI thing. There's a major backlash within the Harley Davidson community, online especially, but certain mainstream media picked up on it as well, in which they were saying, well, you've got all these policies and you're really taking it away from the brand. And this is what I've always contested as well. If you're a motorcycle manufacturer, or a manufacturer of cups and saucers, or a manufacturer of tables, or whatever it is, don't start doing things that affects your brand and your identity, and don't start doing things that alienates your core customer base. Because as soon as you start doing that, you're going to have a massive drop in sales, and people will turn away from your brand, or turn away from the kinds of things that you produce, or they just go elsewhere and buy similar kinds of products. This is what was happening to Harley Davidson. So they are really on a massive repair job here. They've been on this for the last couple of months, and I've been saying that they need to do something to regain some ground, not only from their core customer base, but also the ones that possibly would come to the brand, also the ones that have already left, and try and get those back in as well. So it's about retention, it's about regaining, and it's about attracting. So if they go down a route of producing not only advertising campaigns, but also the things that they say in these advertising videos, let's say, when they're launching a new motorcycle, and also the kinds of motorcycles that they produce, then all of a sudden, if they go down this route, this kind of even leaning towards a little bit around the Jaguar route, then all of a sudden they're going to have a massive issue here. And this will only show itself in a massive drop in new motorcycle sales, which they're already faltering on. They're already having issues with. If this continues into 2025 and they don't have the products to rebound and to regain some ground and steady the ship, as it were, I'm not saying that they're suddenly going to recover and they're going to be producing fantastic bikes and everybody's going to want to buy them and they're going to be producing $5,000 shekel bikes, whatever it is, that all the kids are going to want to buy. I'm not saying they're going to do that. I think they should, but I don't think they will. But I think they just need to steady the ship. And if there's any hint of this kind of woke thing that's been going on in the Western world for the last few years, that is starting to have a major backlash against, not only on social media, but also in mainstream media as well. And there's lots of people who are kind of standing up against this as well, and just looking at the absurdity of it. It's not necessarily about diversity. It's not necessarily about having any kind of offense to anybody else, what they want to do. Most people say, look, do whatever you want to do. There's no problem. But what they're talking about is changing the framework just to suit a very small number of people, and they're alienating so many other people. And that's the problem here. If they kind of lean towards one way, they're going to have a further backlash, which is going to affect them even more. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. I'm really interested to see what Harley Davidson do in January, what the run-up to January will be. Well, obviously, of course, what kinds of motorcycles they're going to produce. Can they steady the ship? But also, what kind of advertising campaign that they're going to run? What does the CEO say? What do Harley Davidson do now? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you like what I do here, just keep on watching the videos, and I'll catch you again. Bye now.